Hey guys, it's Junior. Welcome back to my channel here at Horsepower Warehouse. Before I let this project out the door, I wanted to go ahead and spend a couple minutes with you guys and show you what we accomplished on this 67 behind me. This car, if you guys have watched some of my previous content, you'll know this came to us as a pretty dang nice car. In fact, it was a Bloomington Gold award winner. It was a recipient of gold. We do have the judging sheets, so we knew kind of where it lost points. Problem being, it was a 20-year-old restoration. This one, the full resto was done somewhere in the 2003 time range, so roughly 20 years old. And in that time range, they put somewhere in the realm of 1,200 miles. We probably added the last 15 just in the last 2 days shaking the car down, but it was a very low mileage car, 20-year-old restoration. This thing was winterized and kept in a lineup of other super high-end Corvettes where it was kind of in a collection, actually a museum. So the gentleman purchased this car and brought it pretty much straight to us after buying it. He had a list of small concerns, things to shake down on the car, and then he wanted me to get it on my illuminated lift and just go over the entire thing, because he knows that, you know, my shop specializes in getting these cars really dialed in the full restoration. So in doing my investigation of the car, I found quite a bit of other things. I found a couple safety hazards. I found a couple things that aesthetically were not pleasing to me. So we just went ahead, took the body off of it, completely stripped the bottom of the body. You'll notice that the engine bay looks beautiful now. This is because we stripped and painted all of the engine bay, the entire firewall, all of the inner fenders. Just a lot of work aesthetically on the engine bay, but also all of the rubbers, the hoses. I mean, there is a lot of stuff that can go bad over the course of 20 years, even if it was unused. So we went ahead and did a complete sweep, basically everything but rebuild the long block on this motor. We did go ahead and rebuild the transmission because the tranny had the ring of death. If you guys haven't seen that previous video, we went ahead and circumvented a definite potential issue. This car had a couple of other safety issues going on here. I'm not going to call out exactly what was wrong on this car because I don't want to make it seem like it was a poor build. It wasn't. It was just maybe not done by someone that's quite to our caliber. We went ahead and did complete thermal and sound insulation, all new carpet. We actually removed the entire instrument cluster so that way I can recoat all of the coves in the center stack. All new lenses, and the instrument cluster was rebuilt. New column hub, and we went through the column. So there was a lot of work that needed to be done on what visually looked like a really nice car from the get-go. Of course, it didn't look anything like this. You'll notice that, you know, my stuff is I go for above and beyond, and I'm hoping that that is what I achieved here. I never like to pat my own back. I always let people tell me what they think about my car rather than, you know, me offering my opinion about it. I just try to do the very best that I can here, and I feel like we absolutely made something that I'm really proud to show you guys. But we already knew that it looked pretty from the top, so let's go ahead and lift it up. I'll be right back. And we are back when we have the car in the air. Now you guys can see where the majority of the work has occurred. So let's go ahead and make a real slow sweep as we make our way forward. You can see, and I'll point out a couple of things: new rear spring, all new hardware, all of the bushings, anything that would be considered a consumable on this car, we just went ahead and did the full sweep on it. I use the no stone unturned type of approach on my builds. I don't take anything for granted, so usually when you tell me that it's rebuilt, I don't believe you. I'm going to go ahead and investigate myself, either take it apart, look at it internally, or do some sort of figuring out whether or not it's up to my standards or not. But I don't just reuse really anything on my cars. I like to go through and make sure everything is completely like this. So as you can see, we have a full powder coating package on this car. Everything is nice and crisp and clean, as beautiful as you'd probably want of your high-end Corvette. I use a mixture of the traditional restoration techniques and modern coatings and just the better stuff. So when I do my restorations, I don't like to be limited to the NCRS or Bloomington books about things like what coating I should use. I will listen to, what is the final sheen. So semi-gloss to satin is kind of the preferred for the chassis. So I'll go ahead and adhere to that. But I do it in powder coat so that way it lasts the life of the car. As you guys can probably tell, this thing looks really, really nice under here. I'm pretty proud of how all this came out. Now, this wasn't done just solely for judging. Of course, I could have built a car that is a points car. Now, when you're doing a points car, you don't deviate from the manual at all. You don't make any improvements over whatever was built in the factory in 1967. Things like the coating in the wheel wells, rather than the old school asphaltic oil-based coating, I use something a little bit more modern. The reason being, my stuff isn't sticky. It's not going to cling dirt to it. When rocks hit it, it's not going to make a ding, 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 ding in the wheel well. It's actually a sound deadener type coating as well. It will last just 20 times the length of the asphaltic coating. It looks a lot better. It lays down nicer. There's just so many reasons why I do the deviations from the norm. It's all well thought out. And I present my customers, of course, with the option. We can go with A, B, C, whatever you want to do. I can absolutely make it happen. It's just that I've built so many of these cars at this point that I do have a preference for how I would build it if it were my car. And that's usually the way that the customer agrees with me after I show them, all the different ways to accomplish what we're accomplishing. So with that being said, I'm going to finish off today with a new Shelby that just came in, GT500 KR. I always like at the end of my videos to show the newest and the latest in here. Pretty dang neat. I don't know the actual production numbers of the King of the Roads, but that is a neat car, and I really like the KR wheels. I know those are not cheap. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for joining me. Pretty soon I'm going to be making a Copo video for you guys. I know you want to see my Camaro, and I'm excited to walk around and show it to you guys, maybe even fire it up. So join me next time. Until next time, take care.